Ja, wij zijn dus nu officieel bij de enige echte. Let op, ik zeg niet functionerende, maar de enige echte officiële Fountain of Youth. En nee, dat is niet dat dingetje daar. Wel leuk met die dingen zo. We gaan, ja, Suze mogen zien.
We mogen drinken.
We gaan eens even, zal ik maar zeggen, al onze kwaaltjes en dingetjes wegdrinken. Wil jij voor mij een cupje in schenken, schat? Zien we ze vanzelf. Baant het niet, dan gaat het niet. Suus mag eerst.
Een beetje tussen alle winters weg straks. En dan heb ik een volle bos gedaan.
Ja, voor mij is het niet alleen gehoor. Voor mij zit er ook... weet ik veel wat voor...
Ja?
Gaan jullie proosten met z'n allen of gaat Suus eerst...
Ik laat eerst Suus doen. Die doet niet wat.
Ja? Zal ik?
Bottoms up.
Wel vet gehoord.
En ging ik nou dezelfde cup drinken als Suus?
Wil je een eigen cup dan?
Nee hoor. Maar dat is misschien jinx, hè? Dit is de Fountain of Youth. Kijk eens Miss Youth.
Maar vaak zegt dat zit ook uit de kraan in het hotel.
Dat is al verloren.
Ja, ik voel echt gewoon de jeugdsappen terugvloeien hoor. Of is dat gewoon diarree?
Waarschijnlijk kijk ik het daar van.
Ja.
Nee.
Hallo, het is wel bedoeld dat je straks verland in de vijf gaat zitten.
Kan je het dromen halen?
30 is ook goed.
Nou, probeer dan op zijn minst 26. Nee. Ja, kijk. Wil je meer informatie? SMS Indie aan.
Ze zitten in de...
Ze zitten in
de tas, oké.
Maar dit is dus ja, de echte originele officiële. De Fountain of Youth.
Ja. Smaakt alleen dag veel naar het kraan uit het hotel.
Ja.
de first dad at Ponce de Leon was toen de tweede fresh drinking. Daarom is hij ontstaan.
De tuinen van de Fountain of Youth. Met kanonnen en potten. Vogeltjes. Deze vogels zijn hier dus in hun natuurlijke omgeving, dus je zou hier tegen kunnen komen. Chief Satoriwa. We staan hier nou naast een replica van een originele missiekerk. Wat is het? Menselijke resten. Meer dan 100. Kijk, weer een Nederlander, hè? Of een Nederlander of een Beller? Nee, Nederlander. Rubens heeft deze geschilderd. Pieter Paul Rubens. En wat is er dan in de kerk? Oeh, je kan naar boven. Nou, voor de mensen die de boot hebben gemist. Hallo, dat is te vroeg. Oh, dat was de musket demonstration. Die hebben we dus ook gemist. Ja. Hè?
Maar dat kennen vind ik wel leuk.
Ja.
Kevin's going to talk to you about the cannon. Give it up for Bill, everybody. Alright, if you look right next to me, you can see this rusted iron barrel. It's a muzzle loading cannon. All that means is when you're preparing that weapon to fire, everything gets loaded to the front. First thing down the tube is going to be scoops of black powder. Then you're wadding fire your cannonball. Now everything got rammed to the rear of the weapon. Now at the back of that barrel at the very top would have been a little hole. That's called a touch hole. You fill that up with a priming powder, you hit it with a match, you get a nice big boom. Now reloading, it's going to take you 90 seconds to 2 minutes. It is the same process, add one extra step. You guys see the stick with the sponge on it? Between every shot, you're going to take this sponge, dunk it in a bucket of water, then you're going to swap your barrel out. Because the last thing in the world you want to do is take fresh black powder, shove it down an iron tube with red hot burning embers in the back of it. Okay, you're going to do that once. After your barrel's filled down, your back two, your powder, your water, your ball, your primer, and go. The three cannons we have mounted on these tabby pedestals are Spanish 9-pounders. Used to call them long nines. And with the proper elevation from a fortified position, they can actually fire a 9-pound cannonball to their maximum range of just under 2 miles. And it is the top military technology of the 17th and 18th centuries. Now, the cannon we're shooting for you today? Not so much. Folks, that one's called a 6-pound breech charge muzzle loading bombardetta. And the technology for that cannon's actually out of the 15th century. So as you can imagine, there's a lot of differences between that gun and these guns. But one of the biggest differences here is how you load it. You see the barrel on that cannon's actually open at both ends, because you charge your powder and wadding's going into a separate container known as the powder mug or the server door. You can see our spare one standing up right next to the gun carriage. So once you get your powder and wadding into the server door, you're literally going to pick it up and insert it into the back end of the barrel. Then you take a piece of wood, that's called the breech block, drop it behind that server door to hold it in place. While you're doing that, another member of the crew is getting the cannonball down the barrel, you primer it and fire it. Now, one advantage that older design has got on these guns, reload time. Yeah, you see, each one of those cannons would have had 4 server doors assigned to it. So every time the weapon is discharged, the expended server door is removed, and a fresh one's inserted in its place. So that means a well-trained crew of 5 can achieve and sustain a rate of fire, on average, of 2 rounds a minute. And for the 15th century, that is wicked impressive. But it's not so impressive, however, is the capabilities of the 6-pound iron cannonball. Would you like for me to demonstrate for you, the eager audience, the capabilities of this 6-pound iron cannonball? Alright, now I want you to brace yourselves, because this is going to be like the most exciting part of your entire week, and it's only Wednesday. Give me a sec to catch your breath. Yeah, seriously, that's about it. That's all they do. Okay, it's not a shell. It won't blow up. There's no fragmentation to it. We don't get any of that to the early 18th century. Literally, this is a solid iron shot flying through the air looking to punch a hole in something. So it's September of 1565 when the Captain General of the Ocean Seas, Don Pedro Menendez de Avilés, a huge fan, by the way, love Pedro Menendez. He's going to found our little seaside village on this field. Okay, St. Augustine's born right here. Now, when that event takes place, just like Phil's crossbow, those cannons are outdated. Nobody's used guns like that in Europe in decades. But Pedro Menendez purchased pointy these cannons and brought them over here. Now the landings, folks, it's not like everybody just showed up on the 8th. The landings actually stopped pre-dawn September 6th. The landings will continue to late in the evening, September 10th. It is during that time frame these 20 cannons are brought ashore. Now, once a good admiral gets them on dry land, what does he do with them? And in anticipation of an attack by Jean Le Beau, the French out of Fort Caroline, he's going to emplace these cannons on the beach behind me to cover the bay and the inlet. And in 1565, that's all beach. You can sit, stand right where you are now. You could have looked over a wide open bay across a very barren Anastasia Island. And you know something? It's a solid move. Reality is this cannonball's small, yes? You fire this thing at a large ship, what's going to happen? Not much. Ball's going to bounce off the side of the hull and you'll just aggravate the captain of the boat. But Pedro Menendez realized when he got here, hey, we don't have to worry about large ships making it into that bay. And that's because of the inlet. In 1565, that inlet's nothing like we have today. Today, it's a straight shot out to the old Gray Lady. Back then, it used to run off the east side of Anastasia Island from the south to the north. At low tide, a sandbar blocked the entrance to it. High tide, it's only 9.5 foot deep. No way large ships making it in. So if the French wanted to try us off the water, they're going to have to choose a much smaller vessel, like that longboat we have in storage in the south side of the field. That is a ship-to-shore boat, and every sailing vessel of the era will have a boat similar to that with them. This ball is going to come out of that gun traveling at about 580 feet per second. It is going to smash through something like that, like it's made of cardboard. And if you're inside that boat when that's taking place, you're having a terrible afternoon. Think about it, 20 guns, 2 rounds a minute. That's a potential for a lot of this iron shot to be screaming across that bay at any given time. Ball strikes below the waterline, longboat starts to sink. Guess what most Europeans in the 16th century can't do? Swim. Swim, you got it. You survive all that, congratulations. Once you get close enough, about 190 yards out, we're going to stow away these cannonballs. Now we're breaking out bags of musket balls because we're going to convert our 20 cannons into 20 rapid-firing shotguns. Yeah, she was a little outdated by 1565, she was. Those 20 bombardieros, more than adequate to defend this position. Now, the effective range of the cannon, that is the range in which we can actually hit something. It's approximately a half a mile. The max range is a mile, but they're not accurate at that distance. And another concern with these cannons is going to be the integrity of the servidor. You cannot overcharge these guns. You have to understand that when Pedro Menendez had these cannons, they're already 50 to 75 years old. Overcharge the gun, you can blow up the servidor, and that would kill the crew. So the average charge of powder on that cannon would have been 1 pound to no more than 1.5 pounds. All right, there's going to be 2 commands here. All right, Viva Menendez, then Fuego for fire. Now, this is time for audience participation. When I say Viva Menendez, you guys got to yell out Viva. Okay? Let's try it on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Viva!
There you go. Okay? It is cannon, guys. They're kind of loud. That's what they do. Get sensitive hearing. You might want to cover them up.
What I'm going to use to fire this cannon with is called a ponce de fuego, which means walking fire, or in English, a linstock. It holds a piece of slow match that burns at a very, very hot ember, but it's not as burns as fast as what a fuse would. So this is what would set the gun off. Now the reason that it's so long is because when the gun goes off, the touch hole will blow up a ring of fire around this big around and 12 to 15 feet high and over 1,100 degrees. So that's why you want to stay away from it.
Guys ready?
Yeah.
All right. Viva Menendez!
Viva!
Fuego!
Shoot, Jesus.
Hey, you want to hear something really cool? You actually pay us to do this. All right, let's talk powder for a second. We didn't use anywhere close to a pound of powder. It's a low tube right there. It was filled up 3/4 of the way. I can attest to that. I'm one of the guys that fills them. 2 ounces of the heavy grain 1F black powder. Now, what you saw flying out of the front of the cannon was not a cannonball. U.S. Coast Guard frowns on that type of behavior, and I'm not going to jail dress like this. What you saw is wadding. And for wadding here, we're actually using Spanish moss. All right, we're going to get the watchtower before the boardwalk's open. Jake will be back at 12:45 for his next shot, and then Greg's got one more blacksmith demonstration before he goes to lunch. Do appreciate you guys coming out. Enjoy the rest of your time here.
Ja, en terwijl Suus en Arjan op de watchtower zijn,
wij net een ontdekking gedaan.
Hebben Daan en ik net een ontdekking gedaan?
Ja.
Ze hebben hier namelijk, ja je verwacht het niet hoor, bij zo'n thema, opgraving, park ding. Maar wat hebben ze hier daar? Jij mag het uit de doeken doen.
Ze hebben een gift shop.
Nee!
Ja!
Bij de uitgang toevallig.
Ja!
Je raadt het niet. Je verwacht het niet.
Je wist het niet.
Wat een bijzonder. Echt, en er waren dus nog andere mensen hier ook. En die waren helemaal ondaan dat hier gewoon een giftshop was.
Ja.
Heel bijzonder.
Waren wij er ontdaan van?
Daar waren wij weer geschokt van, zeg maar. Want volgens mij is Amerika, kun je nog geen toiletgebouw verzinnen of er zit een giftshop bij. Het is wel een heel groot kruis daar om een of andere. Oh, dat is die kruis van die kerel van de Tour. Ja, precies. Maar dit is dus de opgraving, ja, themapark noemen ze het ook wel. Van Fountain of Youth en Ponce de Leon.
De Fountain of Youth klopt wel.
Ja? Je voelt je...
Ja, volgens mij was die baard net, die kruisboogdemonstratie deed. Wel, dachten wij, zus en ik, dus dat hij wel zeker hetzelfde team was.
Die was erbij, zal maar zeggen, toen ze aan land kwamen hier. Ja. Die begint langzaam wel te dementeren, want die wist niet meer waar iets van gemaakt was.
Het water helpt niet meer bij hem.
Nee, precies. Maar we gaan zo... ze hebben hier naast een giftshop hebben ze hier ook een barbecue restaurant. Dus we gaan eens even kijken of ze daar lekkere dingetjes hebben.
Kijk, ze daar staan, een beetje staan te liegen.
Leugenaars.
Oh ja. Mooi uitzicht.
Ja. Wij dachten, wij lopen wel even op en neer. Maar het is best ver.
Boven lijkt het heel dichtbij.
Weet je wat dat was? Kijk uit bij hier.
Bij de allereerste originele Ripley's. Believe it or not. Het Rariteitenmuseum.
You guys want to purchase any of our souvenir books or anything else today?
No, thank you.
You guys need to get off the trolley or did you park here?
Trolley.
Trolley.
Trolley, okay. What's your zip code?
We're from the Netherlands.